One of the reasons that we use food to battle emotions is because we need to be nurtured. Many times, a mother will shove a cookie into her kid's mouth to get him to shut up because she doesn't want to deal with whatever's bothering them. I was in a store yesterday and this little girl was screaming. She kept screaming, I want my Dee, I want my Dee. I don't know what Dee was. But mama was just, she was trying on clothes and she just kept telling the kid to shut up. And then finally she took a cookie out of her purse and shoved it in the kid's mouth. The kid sat down and got quiet and everything was well. Too many times parents use cookies to take care of the problem that they should be taken care of. When I was a kid and I came home from school, I was real scared and I needed my mama to nurture me, to take care of me, to tell me everything was okay, to tell me everything was good, to tell me I was all right. She didn't have time. She was too busy with her other children. And she would tell me, go ahead and eat something and you'll feel better. So I learned at a very early age that food could make me feel better. And it did. I would eat and eat and eat until I was sick. Until I was so sick that I wasn't thinking about school and the problems I had at school. I was thinking about my stomach and how sick I was. So that took care of that. It didn't end when I was a teenager. I kept it up. Then when I was a young adult, I kept it up. And it went on and on and on. Until I was so big and so fat that I couldn't move. I got to the point where I gained like 180 pounds in a period of, 15 months. And it was because I couldn't exercise, because exercise was my key to maintaining my weight. I couldn't exercise because I have arthritis and hurt myself. And I was having trouble with my hormones that were unbalanced. And I was going into menopause. And I was very depressed. Now these are three things that you don't like to face alone. But to face them all together created a big old mess for me. Now, I went to weight loss surgery and they told me that I was a good candidate until I had to have a psychological exam. And then they discovered that I was a binger and that I depended on food for too many things. So they refused to do the surgery. They told me to take 4 to 6 months off and to go into intensive therapy. And I told them I already been in intensive therapy. I know what my problem is. Just because I know what my problem is doesn't mean I'm going to fix it. Doesn't mean it's going to take care of it. I think the only hope for me right now is weight loss surgery. So why don't you just sign the paper there and let me have it? And he said, no, you could be setting yourself up for failure. And you could actually set yourself up to rupture your whatever, the incision or the loops or the hoops or whatever it is that holds your stomach in place. And he said, and it could cause a serious infection and you could die. And then I thought about my brother who had the surgery and was not a successful candidate. He did lose a lot of weight. Problem was, he didn't do what they told him. And he did get an infection, and he did die from that infection. So I thought, maybe weight loss surgery ain't for me. I don't like the thought of dying. Losing weight, yeah. But dying? No. That's not something I want to do. Not yet, anyway. So I knew I had to fix my problem. But how do I do it? I knew what my problem was. I used food to nurture me. I used food to take care of my emotions because I didn't want to face them. So what did I do? I'll tell you what I did. I learned how to face my emotions, to just face them. And when I saw those emotions coming and when I saw myself running to the food, I knew that I had to do something else to take the place of eating the food. So here is how I learned to put up a wall, to put up a roadblock, to keep me from going to the food, and to help me to face my problems without having to deal with food. The first thing I learned was this right here. One of the few things that I remembered my mother doing for me and feeling loved and cared for and affection coming from her to me was when I was sick, and she would rub this stuff on my chest. It was one of the few times that she ever touched me, that she ever showed me that kind of affection. To me, affection, touching you, hugging you, loving you. Well, she rubbed my chest with Vicks Vapor Rub, and she told me everything's going to be okay. Just go to sleep and shut up. But I recalled that, and I remembered the feelings that I had of being loved and cared for. And the Vicks Vapor Rub reminded me of that. So when I felt like I needed to be loved and nurtured and cared for, opening up the bottle and smelling the Vicks Vapor Rub helped. Taking the Vicks Vapor Rub and rubbing it on my chest helped. It got to the point to where I would just put a little bit of it on my nose so that I could smell it without having to carry the bottle. And today, I can't go to sleep unless I have a little bit of Vicks Vapor Rub under my nose so that I can relax, feeling safe and taken care of. Weird, huh? The next thing I learned to do was polish my fingernails. It kept my hands busy. It made me feel like I was doing something special for myself. I remember coming home from school and wanting to color, wanting to draw, wanting to do things with my mother. She did it with my sister. She did it with my brother. But she didn't really have time for me. So I'd get out to polish, and I wouldn't paint pictures or draw stick people. I would just get creative with my fingernails and polish my nails. And today, I'm pretty good at it. I polish my nails on a regular basis. There are some times when I see the emotions flooding and coming at me, and I realize that I need to do something to apply my mind to something besides the food. And I'll come in my room, and I have got 2 suitcases. I'm not kidding. Like an overnight bag, 2 of them full of fingernail polish. And there are nights when I feel myself spiraling and going out of control because of a problem or a situation, that I come into my room, I sit here, and I polish my nails, take the polish off, polish my nails, take the polish off, polish my nails. Sometimes I polish my nails as many as 8 times. And I just keep doing it until I'm feeling either too tired to do it or worn out and not even thinking about the problem of the food. Another thing that I learned to do was give myself a facial. Now, sometimes the facial thingies can be real expensive. And I figured the real thing that I wanted and needed was to be touched and to feel like I was taking care of me. So what I did was I got this cheap stuff. It's a cold cream. And you get it at Walmart for just, it's a little over $1. It's real cheap. And I take the cream and I roll it into my face. And while I'm doing it, I'm looking into the mirror and I'm talking to myself. And I'm telling myself, you all right. Everything's okay. Don't worry about it. Everything's going to be all right. You are a good person. You are worthy to be loved. You're okay. It works. Hey, it works. Makes me feel good. Makes me feel encouraged. Makes me feel nurtured. See, what's happening here is I'm giving myself what I was not given, what was missing, what created the hole inside of my heart or my soul. The hole that I try to fill by eating too much food. No matter how much food you put into your mouth, no matter how much food you stuff into your stomach, you will never take care of the problem in your heart until you learn how to deal with the emotions that create the problem. Another thing that I have learned to do, and that is crochet. I love to crochet. Crocheting is one of my favorite things to do. I'll sit here, if I see myself going into the other day my husband and my daughter were arguing. He's her aide, and they don't get along. And they were arguing. And I said, I can't deal with this. So I came into my room and I grabbed my crochet needles and I just started to crochet. And before I knew it, I had a hat and scarf. And another time, before I knew it, I had a shawl. I really like scarves and hats. That's what I go for. But my point is, I learned to do something to put up a roadblock to keep me from going to the food. Now that might not be so psychological. That might not be so, wow factory. But it was for me. It was something that helped me to stop the freight train that goes to my brain and makes me run to the food to make me feel better. It works for me. Now, what works for you? I don't know. I don't know what's going to work for you. You need to figure that out yourself. You need to find out what you can do to stop the emotions that come flooding into your heart that make you want or need to feel good or feel better and pushes you to the food. Figure it out. Figure it out. And when you do, you'll find yourself spending more time doing other things and not running to the food. That's a good thing. And in time, you will discover that the power that food once had over you is no more. And instead of rushing to food to take care of the hole in your soul or the hole in your heart, you're going to do what it was meant to do. You're going to go to food to take care of the hunger in your stomach. Sounds like an odd concept, but it's the truth, and it will happen.